Hello, I'm Larry Good with City TV. Welcome to this edition of Inside Santa Barbara, the city's only news magazine show. We bring you up to date on the city's most significant projects, issues, and events. Well, the Santa Barbara City Council recently estimated that its annual cost for dealing with homeless issues is $5 million. That covers a number of services, including 6,000 homeless-related calls for police service every year. In an effort to make housing a priority for the homeless issue, the city recently received a $2 million grant, which brings together a collaboration of agencies to tackle this growing dilemma.
So an ordinance that says you can't smoke in public, period, in the city of Santa Barbara. Right. You know about that one, right?
The streets are home to a million homeless stories, and Officer Keldhove has heard them all, over 20 years on street corners like State and Haley.
He doesn't have a plan that's going to get him out of this predicament so that he will be somewhere else tomorrow. So he depends on other people stepping in and helping him.
And then there is Earl.
Earl, how are you?
Who Officer Hove calls his very first intervention.
I arrested him to get him in to get medical attention, and then after he got sobered up inside of the jail, then he was able to continue with his sobriety, and we got him housing, and he's been sober ever since.
I know he's one of the good guys. There are good guys.
Officer Hove has a stick and carrot approach to helping. He can cite someone for drinking or smoking in public as a way to force them into restorative court. But with full cooperation, the fines are waived.
After 6 months of working with us and perhaps living inside or being in a program and have given law enforcement no grief for that time, then we drop those tickets and it helps them move on to the next level, which could be housing somewhere, et cetera, et cetera.
In less than an hour at one intersection, Hove introduced himself to someone new in town. He offered help to this man with his nuisance citations and finding a shelter, and just stumbled across another man he helped years ago reunite with his family in Philadelphia and get a room at Santa Barbara's Falding Hotel.
Yeah, I just go to school and live here.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Other than that, I will try to get another job.
I know you.
Thank you.
And as you go along with this job, you realize how many people are struggling in so many different ways. This is what we have to do. We didn't ask to be dealing with mentally ill people, but they automatically come to us. So we can look at it as, do we punish them through law enforcement only, or do we see if there are other options? And that's what restorative policing is all about.
Treatment programs, reunification with family, and finding permanent housing happens when someone is motivated to break out of their destructive cycle. Such is the case with Crystal Frausto. She's been clean and sober since late 2017 and is dedicated to her physical therapy for a stroke she suffered.
AmeriCorps is the one that helped me get into this program. Because if it wasn't for them, I would still be homeless, or I'd probably be dead because I'll probably be out there still using drugs.
She has broken the cycle of going in and out of jail and has found housing at Hotel de Riviera.
And I got my family back because I'm sober.
Jessica Lucas was a member of AmeriCorps when she began helping Crystal. Now she is with United Way's Home for Good program, which housed 21 homeless last year and reunified 16 others with family. On this day, she's trying to find housing for Donald Swan, a homeless veteran for well over 2 decades.
I know, I'm concerned, Donald, because you're not going to your appointments. And at PATH, at least they're there to make sure you're doing okay. There just isn't enough housing to get them into housing quickly, especially people who have pretty significant disabilities and can't walk upstairs. I would say the common theme is that they didn't have a safety net. There wasn't anybody else who was trying to engage with them because they weren't staying at a shelter, they weren't working with anybody. And so our goal is to be that safety net for the people that don't have that to begin with.
And Jessica has over 24 people at a time that she works with one-on-one.
All right, so what do you want me to say tomorrow at court? I'll say, I object, Mark's the best. Don't arrest him.
Yeah, I know what to say. Just be there by my side.
I got everything to live with here.
With the help of Jessica and others, Vietnam vet Jesse Goodman went from eating out of dumpsters for 13 years to living in a small trailer.
I got to the place that I thought that I didn't think there's no way off the street. They do that. They go around and they ask people that's homeless, can I help you? And I didn't know who they was, but I said, yeah, I need help. And she's been a very strong lady in my life. She would never give up. She's very persistent.
For a multitude of reasons, mostly mental and physical, many homeless are resistant to any kind of medical or housing assistance.
Travis, who's my supervisor, he works in all over like Santa Barbara that's not on State Street. And so he works with a lot of people who are in encampments, people who have kind of taken themselves away from the main frame of Santa Barbara. And so they're a little bit less willing to work with us.
So the city of Santa Barbara applied for and received a $2 million Homeless Emergency Aid Program, or HEAP grant, to help and hopefully house the 50 most vulnerable individuals. They include the chronically homeless, veterans, seniors, people with health issues, including mental disabilities.
They may have mental illness, or they're veterans or seniors or youth, or maybe substance abuse problems. They become more vulnerable because they have more issues that needs to be dealt with, and maybe a little bit more difficult to get them into permanent housing.
A portion of the $2 million grant goes to CityNet, a Southern California outreach organization that uses a mobile team to go where the most resistant homeless live.
We're starting to find out that this approach of having like a mobile navigation center where people come from these teams, all they're able to help them, has absolutely been the most effective of getting people off the streets.
When you really do sort of kind of take a large, challenging societal challenge and sort of focus it down on a couple key individuals and sort of bring to bear all the resources on a relatively small population, we have seen the significant results. We've seen people who have been homeless for decades, literally, sort of finally get to that place where, because of this collaboration, they were able to get housed and actually stay housed.
It's a big task. At last count, there are nearly 900 homeless in Santa Barbara. Approximately 2/3 are unsheltered, sleeping in bushes, doorways, and other hiding places.
Get people housed. That's like the foundation that people need in order to start improving their lives, is to have a roof over their head, and then they can start thinking about, other services to help.
The Santa Barbara Housing Authority is just one cog in the HEAP grant collaboration, which also includes CityNet, Santa Barbara Police Department, PATH, and Cottage Health Systems.
What's important, though, is the connections that are made, the relationships with CityNet, with restorative policing, with Fieldhouse and others, that make those personal connections with people to build trust, to say, let's get you some housing, and then let's talk about services as well.
People assisting the homeless, or PATH, typically shelter up to 100 people a night. You might say this interim housing facility is a path for homeless to recover, reunify with family, and ultimately find permanent housing.
They might be shy of coming into a shelter, so maybe coming into PATH isn't for them, but we're hopefully going to be able to work with those folks out on the streets where they are and still get them into housing.
As part of the HEAP grant collaboration, PATH makes beds available for Cottage Health Systems, restorative policing, and CityNet outreach teams.
So we've had about 4 folks come through already, 2 of which have moved on to more permanent housing solutions, which is exactly what this program was designed to do.
I mean, the reality is it's going to take truly a collaborative posture and a collaborative effort to really get all the right resources focused. We're better together, that's just the reality.
Assisting the CityNet outreach effort is a nurse practitioner from Cottage Health Systems, which also received HEAP grant money.
She's out with CityNet, she's out with the police, restorative policing, and she's really meeting with the homeless, building that trust, and then working on their medical care plans, working on their medication management, helping them connect to the primary care physicians, doing education, health education, anything we can do to help the homeless to be more healthy in our community.
Engaging the 50 most vulnerable homeless in the field could decrease their emergency room visits, which currently average about 3 a year per person.
I think part of the goals of the program are to reduce emergency visits, and I think what we're really interested in is providing the right care at the right time.
Cottage also provides a coordinator who brings all the agencies together periodically to ensure everyone is on the same page.
What we're trying to do is provide those services, the medical services, the social services, and all the wraparound services where we ultimately are getting them housed. Because really, having a home is going to be that key to success and to being ultimately really healthy.
So it's very individual. Just because you're homeless doesn't mean you fit in one box, obviously. If they are compliant, it's manageable. If they have a drug and alcohol problem, if they have mental health issues, if they have physical ailments that just compounded, then it becomes a much more difficult task. And that's where it takes a village to get that one person back on track again.
This first $2 million HEAP grant extends for 27 months and expires in 2020. The El Estero Wastewater Facility was recently renamed. Employees of the now El Estero Water Resource Center share their excitement about the meaning this new name brings to their work.
Well, for a long time, the community has been focused on out of sight, out of mind when it comes to their waste, in particular our wastewater. And good, it's leaving my house, it's gone. I pay my wastewater bill every month and I'm glad I don't have to hear it. And what we want to do is start to change that dialogue, because as a community, we're really focused on sustainability. And this facility is so much more than waste treatment. And it's really a great example as a community where we want to go.
After being here 25 years with the city, I guess you can say I'm one of the guys that have been here for a long time, and changing the name is good. I like it. It's I think it was time for it, especially to educate the public what we really do here at El Estero. I'm really excited about the new process change and how we're going to be able to work on new equipment and keep up with technology with new type of equipment that we're going to have to maintain. Being the technician supervisor, I think it's important to try to keep up with technology and perhaps learn something new. And we're just really excited about this.
The current facility that's here has been here since 1978, so over 40 years now of ensuring this community and the environment are protected. And we want to, with this new name, take us into the future. It's not only protecting, but it's also sustainable. Recovering all the resources that come into here and turning them into something this community can use again. Our job here is taking the waste out of water, and we want the community to embrace that with El Estero Water Resources Center.
I'm really excited actually about our new naming and specifically the word center as part of our renaming, because I really do believe this is a center for environmental and public health, and that really it's a confluence of water and energy and nutrients, and I think all the staff are happy that we kept the name of El Estero. Historically, it's been El Estero, and physically, we are on top of an old estuary, which we mimic just in a speedier process. So I think that's really appropriate for what we do here.
So one of the drivers for the secondary upgrade was to provide a better water quality going into the tertiary facility, so we can produce more water in our recycled water system to water the parks, the golf courses, flush the toilets, and all the various other uses we have for recycled water. And an added benefit is that we are sending out a higher quality to the ocean.
This really is and is going to be the center of our water resources model of being sustainable, recovering energy in balance with our natural ecology, and so this facility is going to be a prime example of that.
It's kind of exciting that we are looking towards the future to bring better services for the community and for the environment.
One of the things we're hoping to convey to the public with the renaming of this facility is the importance. I mean, there really is no facility in this community more important than the El Estero Water Resources Center. This facility is really the key to protecting the environment and public health.
To learn more about the El Estero Water Resource Center and its services, visit BarbaraCa.gov/wastewater. Well, there's good news for cyclists in Santa Barbara. Several major projects of the 2016 Bicycle Master Plan are now in the design stage. Mary Lou Cisneros has that story.
To connect the Bicycle Master Plan to the Vision Zero initiative of 2018, which states that transportation-related deaths are unacceptable and preventable, the city is pursuing bike boulevards, which have proven successful in Long Beach, Berkeley, and Portland, Oregon, and from which we've learned one important thing.
That it's possible. It is possible to have safer places for pedestrians and bicyclists to walk and bike.
In 2017, the city of Santa Barbara received a grant through California's Active Transportation Program to design a safe route for cyclists that will also provide connectivity through the city.
We got a lot of community feedback of where cyclists are trying to ride and where they want to go. 3 streets that popped up on the list were Milpa Street, Mitchell-Trena Street because of the Mitchell-Trena Street overcrossing, and San Andreas Street, which is like the main street through the West Side neighborhood.
All 3 streets have a lot of vehicle traffic, and it will be difficult to add a bike lane without removing parking. That's when the idea of creating a bike boulevard on an adjacent street emerged.
Bike boulevard, it's not like bike lanes where the bike is on the side of the street. They're actually encouraged to drive right in the lane. And it's a slower moving street, so vehicles are moving slower.
For a street to be considered safe for cyclists, the average number of cars driving through should be about 1,000 to 1,500 per day. To ensure the traffic doesn't exceed this number and that motorists respect the speed limit, various calming devices will be incorporated into the design.
There's going to be some concrete diverters built on Aliso Street. There will be some islands built as well on the cross streets to improve stop sign compliance. That's one thing that we're concerned about as well. On Sola Street, there's going to be new traffic signals built so that cyclists have a safe crossing for all the busy one-way streets like Chapala and De La Vina. As well, there's going to be some additional landscaping built as well to make the street feel more calm and just provide a really nice environment.
The design will focus on the safety of all road users, including pedestrians, and it will allow easy access for local residential traffic and emergency vehicles. During the Bicycle Master Plan community outreach process, residents expressed their concern about on-street parking removal.
And parking is very important, particularly in some of these neighborhoods where you have a lot of tenants in each property. Bike boulevards generally do not remove parking. There are 1 and 2 spaces sometimes at the intersections, but it's rare.
The West Side Bike Boulevard, which is planned to be on either Chino Street or Gillespie Street, will connect to the East Side Bike Boulevard on Aliso Street through the crosstown Sola Street Bike Boulevard, allowing cyclists to move easily and safely throughout the city.
I'm especially excited for high school students, kids that are going, students that are going through the West Side to reach Santa Barbara Junior High and high school as well. These bike boulevards will benefit them immensely. Yeah.
In addition to Santa Barbara Junior High and High School, the proposed route will also enhance access to Hardin and Franklin Elementary Schools and La Cumbre Junior High.
The Safe Routes to School program encourages kids and families to walk and bike to school, but we can't ask those families to walk and bike to school if the infrastructure to the school is not safe. So bike boulevards will increase the safety of getting kids to school by calming traffic, making cars move slower.
According to the Urban Land Institute, numerous studies have shown that real estate values increase with proximity to bicycle paths and walking trails, as homebuyers are more attracted to quiet streets with less vehicle traffic and enhanced bicycle access. This is something that excites route residents.
My family and I live just over here on Mason and Alisos. And we're a biking family. We bike from here to the beach, here to the Santa Barbara Bowl, here to downtown. I'm excited for the Bike Boulevard. Can it come in tomorrow?
What a great time.
Construction on both the east side and west side is slated to begin in 2021. To get more information, you can go online to BarbaraCa.gov/Eastside Connects and Westside Connects. Now let's take a look at some local superheroes who use a lot of elbow grease behind the scenes to help keep Santa Barbara safe.
When a fire truck blares its siren or a police car zooms down the street, Santa Barbara's fleet management is the reason. Fleet technicians are constantly working to ensure the seamless function of public safety vehicles, ranging from fire trucks, police cars, harbor patrol vehicles, and the list goes on.
So we have three main types of maintenance that we perform. First, when vehicles are first brought in from the dealerships, we have to equip them so that they're ready for our employees to use. So we'll outfit them with lighting, emergency lighting, or light bars or vices, or whatever tools that they need to do their job. In addition to that, we perform preventative maintenance inspections. Typically that's done twice a year, every 6 months or 5,000 miles. And then lastly, we do the repairs that sneak up on us.
Fleet's maintenance work ranges across a variety of Santa Barbara's public safety vehicles, including every fire vehicle in the city inventory.
Fleet is our lifeblood. Without Fleet, we'd basically be dead in the water. Not only are they our vehicles, they're really our offices and they're our workstations. Fleet has a very aggressive maintenance plan for all of our apparatus. And then we have a very aggressive replacement plan also. It's a constant job for Fleet. So the fire department has 14 engines, 2 ladder trucks, a hazmat vehicle, a heavy rescue, a squad, several battalion chiefs' vehicles, rigs at the airport, ARF rigs, foam rigs.
When we work on fire vehicles, the primary thing that we need to do is make sure that they get them back promptly. We have time restraints of where we may only have 4 hours to fix a vehicle that needs to be back in service. So we have to work around their schedule a lot.
They put in that effort every day. That's their main focus, and it's awesome for us. We couldn't do without them, like I said.
Fire vehicles aren't Fleet's only specialty. Fleet technicians also maintain police cars, so officers can perform their job at the highest level.
The Santa Barbara Police Department has 73 vehicles, from our command post to our SWAT vehicle down to a motorcycle.
Well, fleet service for public safety vehicles, it's not just taking your normal car down to like Jiffy Lube. We always have to make sure the lights, sirens are working. We need to make sure that the gun locks open and close. The seat belts for the prisoners will latch and unlatch. The seats where the prisoner partitions, making sure that all that is safe so that there is a separation between the officer and the prisoner. My repairs are generally with electronics, whether their computers are working, their communication computers. It can be the radios, their recording devices. So we've done a lot of builds on regular police cars. The ones that are really special and really are the K9 ones. Those are really specific. Those have heat monitors in them. They got vents. If the K9 is in the vehicle and the temperature gets too warm inside it, it will honk the horn. It will roll the windows down automatically, turns fan on, just bring the temperature down.
Fleet helps us with an array of different vehicles so that we're ready and our apparatus is ready to help us in a public safety emergency. We're grateful for the service they provide.
Maintaining such a wide array of vehicles isn't easy. Fleet's technicians have to go through extensive training to know public safety vehicles inside and out.
So right now, 100% of our fleet technicians are ASC certified, and that's the first time that we've ever had that in the shop. So we start them off in the technician 1 position, and they have to be ASC certified on the automotive, and then they move up to the technician 2. They not only have to have the certifications in automotive, but they also have to have their smog license. They have to have a commercial A driver's license, and then they also have to be certified on the medium and heavy trucks. And then lastly, when they get into the fire equipment, that's when they're going to have the certifications on the emergency vehicles. Whether it's ARF or fire apparatus, our technicians, we send them to a fire academy up north, and there's several different courses that they take. And these courses are designed specifically on the fire engines and the ARF to teach them how to, maintain them as well as test them.
As much as they prioritize public safety, Fleet also places a great importance on sustainability, going green without sacrificing safety.
Fleet is striving to be as green as we can, especially here in the city of Santa Barbara. It's very important that we try to decrease our carbon footprint. There are several ways we're doing that. We're really ramping up the number of electric vehicles and hybrids that we're buying. We're really increasing our charging infrastructure to be able to support those vehicles. In addition to that, we're doing things like using re-refined oil, which is a recycled oil, and then we recycle all our oil and coolant In addition, we're using reusable oil filters.
At the end of the day, Fleet's concern is improving the Santa Barbara community. Whether that be reducing their carbon footprint or repairing emergency vehicles, public safety is the priority.
We prioritize working on public safety vehicles because, when events like the Thomas Fire and the debris flow happen, we need to be able to respond, and our first responders need to be able to respond. So, we take that job very seriously, making sure that the public is taken care of in those times.
We don't know when the officer is going to get a call that they need to do a police chase, or engage in a police chase. We need to make sure that that vehicle is ready whenever they turn their lights on, run the siren, and roll.
Thank you, Fleet, for the work you do to keep Santa Barbara safe. And if you'd like to learn more about Santa Barbara's fleet management, visit SantaBarbaraCa.gov/fleet. Well, the sun is out, birds are chirping, flowers are in full bloom. Who wouldn't want to be outside? Next, see how Santa Barbara's Creek Division restores natural creek areas of our city.
Santa Barbara residents know that the city is a leader when it comes to going green. The goal of improving our environment is of primary focus to the Creeks Division. Their team leads creek restoration projects throughout the city. The Arroyo Burro Open Space Restoration Project completed Phase 1 in April, but their work doesn't end there. Creek staff will keep monitoring the work as it matures to ensure the project's success.
Restoration of projects along the creek will help improve water quality, not only in the creek, but also at the beaches.
The project was trying to recreate floodplain habitat out here, as well as restore native diversity of plants to improve the riparian corridor for wildlife habitat. And as part of that, we planted 7,500 native plants.
We added some floodplain terraces in as part of this project, which will help prevent flooding downstream and also help prevent erosion in the creeks.
Among other benefits, the whole ecosystem thrives on the diversity of Arroyo Burro's new 7,500 native plants. They are the foundation of restoration, facilitating the resurgence of native habitat that was here many years ago.
As part of these projects, one of the major goals is to restore native plant diversity out here. The native wildlife, the birds, the insects, everything is evolved to live off the native plants that evolved with them. Having a wider diversity of native plants out here really increases the availability of habitat for native critters.
So we come in with a bunch of native plants and plant them out, and then we maintain them until they're mature. And then once a year we do what's called our annual plant monitoring, and we do that for the first 5 years of the project to determine how they're growing and if our weeding is good and what we need to do to improve it. In order to do the plant monitoring, we set up these what we call transects. They're just lines and we set the same lines up in the same places every year, and we do it randomly. We try to get different habitat types, and then all we do is go through and count the plants that we see, either bare ground, weeds, non-native weeds, or native plant.
And so we will be responsible for maintaining and monitoring that project site into the future to make sure that those plants get established and that they fill in and provide the adequate cover of native habitat and different diversity that we're looking to restore out here.
And the native critters are thankful. Higher up in the Arroyo Burro watershed is another creek restoration project at Barger Canyon. Completed 3 years ago, Barger Canyon's 5,000 native plants are promoting the return of native habitat, specifically native birds, whose presence is an excellent indicator of the success of the restoration.
So I've been doing surveys looking at bird usage inside of the riparian habitat. The riparian zone is the areas associated with the stream areas. Prior to the restoration efforts, I came out and did baseline surveys to kind of see what's out here, what habitats were being used, what bird species were present, nesting activity also. And then following the restoration efforts, I'm coming back out now to look at how things changed. Most of the birds that I've been expecting to see are present. Breeding activity already has occurred inside the restoration site, which was a little surprising. Just up ahead there was a bush tit, a very small native bird that builds a small gourd-like nest, and it's actually nesting in one of the plants that was planted as part of the restoration area.
Restoring native plant and animal diversity is at the heart of these projects. While providing habitat for native species by increasing native plants is key, Monitoring and improving the water quality in the creeks is equally important to these restoration projects.
So my role in the Oroville Open Space Restoration is to come in and collect water samples, have them analyzed for different types of nutrients or possible pollutants, and see how effective the restoration has been in terms of taking samples from the water coming into the restoration area and the water leaving it. So essentially what we do is we come in, we collect each sample individually. We will also take readings using a meter directly from the water. Over time, that'll get us a picture of how effective the restoration's been. So what we hope to see is that the water coming out of the project will be cleaner than the water coming into the project. It's really important to improve and maintain good water quality. It has huge ramifications for not only the aquatic ecosystems, for the birds, for the mammals, for the reptiles, everybody. All of them are dependent on water. So having that foundation and key part of the ecosystem be good and healthy, that improves everything around it.
Whether it's for the animals, for the plants, or for the water, the effort is worth the reward of improving our watersheds for all to enjoy.
This project is a fairly large project, just over 4 acres, but it's one piece along the watershed of a number of different projects we've done to try and improve habitat for critters, improve water quality, and just overall improve the watershed health of Oroville Creek.
We have a new 21-acre open space park in the city of Santa Barbara, and it's open to the public from sunrise until sunset. It's a quiet, peaceful place to come take a walk or have a picnic and just enjoy some quiet time with nature.
To learn more about creek restoration projects, go to BarbaraCa.gov/creeks. Up next, City TV's Amanda Rodriguez explains Santa Barbara's first ever experiment weekend and how it energized State Street.
Experiment Weekend was created to bring people downtown to emphasize an entertaining experience in addition to shopping and dining opportunities. With a growing number of storefront vacancies and the increasing popularity of online shopping, Experiment Weekend aimed to help downtown merchants fight economic pressures, introduce more street art, and create an enjoyable environment for all ages.
We put together Experiment Weekend so people could see different concepts: outdoor dining, eating under the trees on State Street, closing the street for a pedestrian promenade, closing the underpass, seeing the underpass as a destination area. So different things so that people could try it, bring their families, friends, and test it out, see what works, learn, see where we should explore ideas more or not pursue them any further.
In an effort to bring more foot traffic downtown, the city partnered with the Arts Fund and closed down the State Street underpass to create a space for local artists to showcase their art. Interactive light installations from local artists in the Santa Barbara area attracted many to stop by and enjoy the event. There has long been public art in the downtown area. This new event introduced the community to a new form of art for people to try firsthand.
They collaborated with Santa Barbara Channel, so we have underwater scenes of right off of our coast right here, sea lions swimming around and kelp and jellyfish, and some really exciting things for the community to come out and enjoy.
Aside from the art projected on the underpass, artist Carlos Padilla created a piece that combined art and physics.
I think that it's important to be closed down so people can actually concentrate on the artwork, one thing. And it's good to see that the city actually cares about art, and then people can get together like this. It's pretty cool.
Experiment Weekend took several months to brainstorm, plan, and a large team to help bring to life. But the underpass visual art collaboration was in the making for about 2 years.
During the second day of Experiment Weekend, locals saw a transition from visual art at the underpass to more of a family-oriented day with live music, a petting zoo, and basketball.
Look
pop-up businesses where vendors showcase their wares. Experiment Weekend helped to promote small business by engaging shoppers with an experience on the street.
Giving them a State Street front with a proven market like this allows them to test their product and gives them an idea of feedback where they normally wouldn't have on State Street. Most of their pop-ups are off-state or there, so it gives vitality to the city and also gives a chance for small businesses to get recognized.
Pop-up owners and storefront merchants reported an increase in sales over the weekend, helping State Street gain vitality and uniting locals in a common space.
I notice a lot of people aren't on their cell phones and they're being active and talking and looking at other people, which is so rare these days.
As crowds of people filled State Street, many stopped to enjoy the outdoor recreational activities like playing basketball, ping pong, and cornhole, something you can't get while shopping online at home.
Something like this is what we need, a third space where people can come and then you see your friends or you meet. Like we just met these guys for the first time.
As Experiment Weekend made its debut downtown, surveys were conducted to gather feedback and suggestions for future events in the downtown area. Many expressed their excitement and look forward to future events.
To stay up to date with what's happening downtown, visit SantaBarbaraCa.gov/calendar. Santa Barbara is a beautiful city, but it wouldn't be possible without the help of individuals and local organizations. One in particular has a goal of keeping Santa Barbara beautiful. Julia Wynn has that story.
Santa Barbara Beautiful is a local nonprofit organization whose goal is to help beautify the Santa Barbara community. Now that the city has relaxed water use restrictions on landscaping, the organization has resumed the planting of street trees in Santa Barbara.
We started Earth Day here, and so we're very excited about this program being revitalized.
The organization board members celebrated the occasion as new trees were planted on East Mitchell-Terena Street next to Alice Keck Park Memorial Gardens and Alameda Park. This is all in an effort to continue the tradition of beautifying the city with creating a lush urban forest.
It's both a visual aesthetic beautification element along with contributing to public health in terms of what trees do for our natural environment and for our air quality.
The city and the organization work hand in hand to improve landscaping in our parks and on our streets to further enhance our community's character.
The city has worked well with Santa Barbara Beautiful to encourage tree plantings and tourism and beautification. So we're very pleased to represent the city.
Part of the funds used to buy the trees come from Santa Barbara residents who purchase a plaque in honor of the memory of their loved ones, community benefactors, or a local nonprofit organization.
They have a choice of which tree, so the tree genesis is mentioned and the person and the reason. And that's one of the ways we raise funds. So we're honoring individuals, but we also use it to raise funds so that we can continue planting as many trees as possible and also supporting public art in Santa Barbara.
The trees planted today will grow well in Santa Barbara's Mediterranean climate, bringing bright yellow flowers, plenty of shade, along with a smell of sweetness in the air to this area around two of our most beloved parks.
Botanical name is Hymenospermum flavum. It's an Australian tree and it's noted for its sweet-smelling blooms. That's why it's called sweet shade. And when they're in full bloom, it smells like you're in a perfumed room with orange blossoms of that sort, and so it's a lovely tree, and it's evergreen.
The day was also a remembrance of an important person in the organization.
So the trees we're planting today are to honor Courtney Seipel. He was active in the community, but he was particularly active with Santa Barbara Beautiful and was our president for a period of time. And when he passed away, friends and family donated to a fund specifically to plant trees in his honor.
Members took their turns sprinkling soil around the new tree that is dedicated to a past Santa Barbara Beautiful president and old friend.
The whole reason for being for Santa Barbara Beautiful is to continue the beautification of Santa Barbara, and one way is by keeping trees green, planted, helping neighborhoods when they need new trees in front of their homes, and certainly working with the city in a partnership and helping them when they need new trees planted.
These new sweet shade trees will grow tall in the decades to come, shading passerbys and keeping Courtney Siepel's legacy alive by bringing beauty to Santa Barbara.
To learn more or to become a member, visit sbbeautiful.org. That's going to do it for this edition of Inside Santa Barbara. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please give us a call at 564-5311. If you missed part of the show, not to worry. You can always catch us online at SantaBarbaraCa.gov. I'm your host, Larry Good. Remember, get involved inside Santa Barbara.